Mr. Speaker, and it's always a pleasure to follow the Right Honourable Gentleman, the member for Leeds Central. I don't agree with everything that he said, but let me start with a point of definite agreement, which is that the European Union needs reform. I personally believe that the European Union is corrupt. I believe it is bureaucratic. I believe it is meddlesome. I believe it is wasteful. But for all of that, I voted Remain. And I voted Remain because I believe that my children and my grandchildren and my constituents' children and grandchildren would be better off within than out with the European Union in terms of the economy and security. That is how I voted, but unfortunately 52% of the British public did not. And I have accepted that result, and I understand that others take a different view and would like to rerun the referendum or have a people's vote or try and overturn the decision. But I believe that we do have a duty now to honour the express wish of the British people, and for that reason I shall be supporting the withdrawal agreement. It isn't perfect. No compromise ever is. But I listened very carefully to what the Attorney-General said yesterday, and his words, I paraphrase slightly, were that it is a risk, but a risk that we have to take when you consider all of the alternatives. And if you look at all the alternatives, and I tried to goad my right honourable friend, the member for Uxbridge, into offering one this evening and got nothing. If you look at the alternatives, if you look at the hard Brexit, and if you have to rule out, as I do, a return to no Brexit, then we are left with the withdrawal agreement. I believe that my right honourable friend, the Prime Minister, was absolutely correct in saying that it is not possible to go back to the Commission cap in hand and see, OK, we might get a tweak here and a tweak there. But the idea that anybody is going to offer a radical reassessment of what is on offer today, I think, is baying at the moon. I spend a certain amount of time leading the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe delegation, and I meet with European parliamentarians and have done in the past few weeks. They are astonished looking through the other end of the telescope at how much has been given to the United Kingdom. And I think my right honourable friend, the Prime Minister, is absolutely right to say that if she goes and tries to reopen the deal, then 27 other countries will all say, me too. And then we shall have a raft of changes that will not be to our advantage. So, for all that it is not perfect, I shall support it. I just want to touch briefly on the hard Brexit, because this is part of my equation, and now I need to be parochial. I'm proud to be a Member of Parliament representing the Garden of England, representing Kent. Other people don't seem to have grasped this fact, but quite a lot of trade does come through Dover and into the rest of the country and goes out. The fact of the matter is that probably 20 years ago, 85% of the lorries going out were British. Now, 85% of the lorries coming in and going out are continental. A hard Brexit means a hard border. We've heard a lot about hard borders in Northern Ireland, but we haven't heard about hard borders in England. The hard border between Dover and Calais. That shutter will come down. There will be controls if we go for a hard Brexit. I'm told, we visited the Dover Harbour Board last week, we spoke with the Freight Transport Association, the Kent Members of Parliament, with Kent County Constabulary, I spoke personally with a freight forwarder. If those shutters come down, the traffic backs up at about a mile an hour. That's out of the port of Dover, up the M20, up the M26, onto the M25, and then we are stuffed. The M25 comes to a grinding halt, South London comes to a grinding halt, and soon Birmingham will come to a grinding halt. No car parts for the just-in-time car industry, no life-saving pharmaceuticals, construction materials, rock wool comes through Dover, which is used extensively in construction, and food. Now, the good people of North Somerset, Mr. Speaker, and the good people of Uxbridge may not care whether Kent is turned into a lorry park, but I do. But what I also know is that the people of Somerset and the people of Uxbridge will scream blue murder when they find that they can't buy their new Chelsea tractor, or their life-saving drugs, or the foodstuffs that they enjoy that come in from mainland Europe. And you'll hear those screams from the West Country and West London to Westminster. We have, to me, one choice. We actually have three. But I've ruled out no Brexit because I believe that is not what people voted for. I've had to rule out, for the reasons I've just given, hard Brexit. I believe that it will be immensely damaging. Now, my miserable maths, 2 out of 3 leaves 1. And that 1 is the withdrawal agreement that will be before us on Tuesday night. I believe that I owe it to my constituents' children and grandchildren to vote for it, get behind it, and then let this great country move forward. And that is what I shall do on Tuesday.